Did you know that demons flee not just from holy water, but from what you do with it when night falls? There's a spiritual secret that almost no one teaches, and that very few Catholics know. A secret that Padre Pio himself practiced, and that, according to several witnesses close to him, caused invisible reactions in the spiritual world when done with true faith. It's not just sprinkling holy water. It's when, how, and with what intention you use it. What if I told you there's a specific hour of the night when evil spirits move with more force within homes, and that if you do nothing, they remain hidden, influencing your thoughts, your dreams, your emotions, and even your illnesses? Does this sound exaggerated? It's not. Exorcists know this. Ancient monks knew this. And Padre Pio warned many times, the enemy never sleeps. But the soul that prays and protects itself will never be reached. Tonight, when the clock strikes 3 in the morning, or even before, when everything is immersed in silence, take a bottle of holy water, say a simple but powerful prayer, and walk through your house like a guardian of light. Because that small act, almost invisible, can save your home from tragedies that haven't arrived yet. If you believe in Padre Pio's wisdom about spiritual defense, write in the comments, Padre Pio, protect my house. Your faith helps this message reach more souls who desperately need this shield. Once a young seminarian who helped Padre Pio asked him, Father, why do you bless your cell every night, even being in a convent? And the saint responded, because demons don't respect stone walls. They only fear barriers built with prayer and holy water. Do you realize what this means? It doesn't matter if your house is consecrated or if you have sacred images in every corner. If there's no living prayer, if there's no active defense, the spiritual doors remain open, and tonight you can seal them shut. Stay until the end, because what I'm about to reveal could be exactly what you need to feel this sanctuary definitively in your home. The spiritual battle is real, my dear brothers and sisters, and tonight you'll learn how to claim victory. This conversation between Padre Pio and the young seminarian reveals something profound about spiritual warfare that many believers overlook. We often think that being in sacred places automatically shields us from evil influences. But Padre Pio understood that spiritual fortification requires active participation, conscious effort, and deliberate acts of faith. The stigmatized saint knew something that modern Catholics have forgotten. Evil doesn't sleep, and it doesn't respect our comfort zones. It infiltrates homes through cracks we can't see, through spiritual doorways we leave open without realizing it. When that seminarian questioned why even a convent cell needed nightly blessing, Padre Pio was teaching him about the invisible reality that surrounds us every moment. The demons don't respect stone walls, Padre Pio said. They only fear barriers built with prayer and holy water. Think about this for a moment. Your home might have blessed crucifixes on every wall, beautiful images of saints watching over each room, and holy cards tucked into every corner. But if these sacred objects become mere decorations, if prayer doesn't flow through your home like living water, then spiritual entrances remain wide open for unwanted visitors. Padre Pio lived this reality daily. Witnesses reported that he would bless his cell methodically each night, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. He understood that spiritual defense isn't automatic, it's cultivated. He knew that the enemy seeks entry points, and that our homes, our most intimate spaces, become battlegrounds in the unseen war between light and darkness. The saint often spoke about how many Catholics live under spiritual oppression without understanding why. They experience unexplained anxiety, restless sleep, family conflicts that seem to come from nowhere, or a persistent sense that something invisible weighs heavy in their homes. And if they only used holy water with devotion, Padre Pio would say, many chains would be broken. This wasn't superstition speaking. This was a man marked by Christ's wounds, gifted with supernatural insight, teaching practical spiritual warfare. He saw beyond the veil that separates the physical and spiritual realms. He witnessed how small acts of faith create mighty strongholds against evil. But here's what makes tonight different from any other night you've blessed your home. Padre Pio taught that timing matters in spiritual combat. There are hours when darkness presses closer, when the enemy moves with greater boldness, when our spiritual defenses need to be strongest. The early morning hours, particularly around 3 o'clock, have long been recognized by spiritual masters as times of heightened supernatural activity. Speaking of Padre Pio's powerful teachings on spiritual defense, many people have asked me how they can deepen their connection with this great saint and strengthen their spiritual barriers even further. That's exactly why we've created something special for you. An ebook called The Power of the Rosary with Padre Pio, Miracles, Protection and Divine Graces. This spiritual treasure will help you learn to pray the Rosary with greater devotion and depth. Discover the miracles and testimonies of those who have already experienced its power, and understand Padre Pio's most impactful teachings about prayer. You'll receive a 30-day prayer guide with daily intentions to strengthen your faith, plus access to special prayers for protection, healing, and liberation. The Rosary was Padre Pio's great weapon, and today it can be yours too. Don't miss this opportunity to strengthen your spiritual life with material that has already helped thousands of people. To download it, just click on the link pinned in the comments. Now let's return to tonight's powerful teaching about holy water, because what you're about to learn will transform how you safeguard your home. Holy water isn't an empty symbol or a mere tradition passed down through generations. When a priest blesses water, heaven's authority is impregnated into every drop. This isn't superstition, this is spiritual reality. The very ritual of blessing includes words of exorcism, purification, and expulsion. When you touch that water, you're touching something that has been sanctified, touched by God's invisible hand. That's why Padre Pio said that many Catholics live oppressed without knowing why, and that if they only used holy water with devotion, many chains would be broken. He didn't just use it to ward off temptations. He also applied it to objects, beds, clothes, and people. He would say, "One single drop, with faith, and hell trembles." But here's what most people don't understand about holy water's true potency. It's not the water itself that demons fear. It's the faith behind it, the intention, the conscious act of calling upon God's safeguarding. When you sprinkle holy water mechanically, as a routine before bed, you're missing the profound spiritual reality of what you're doing. St. Gemma Galgani reported that when she sprinkled her room, she could clearly hear a dark presence leaving through the window. St. Teresa of Avila said she preferred having holy water nearby more than anything else, and that on every night of anguish she would sprinkle her bed saying, "This place belongs to the Most High." Padre Pio understood this mystery deeply. He knew that when we use holy water with conscious faith, we're not just performing a religious ritual, we're entering into spiritual combat. We're declaring war against the forces of darkness that seek to establish themselves in our most intimate spaces. We're saying to every evil spirit, "Not here. This house belongs to Christ. This house is under Mary's mantle." The saint often spoke about how the spiritual and physical worlds intersect in ways we rarely perceive. He could see what others couldn't, the invisible battles raging around us, the attempts of evil to gain footholds in our lives through seemingly small entry points. A moment of anger that lingers too long, a fear that we nurture instead of surrendering, a grudge that we hold in our hearts, these become doorways for spiritual oppression. But Padre Pio also saw how simple acts of faith could slam those doors shut. He witnessed how holy water, used with genuine devotion, created barriers that evil simply cannot cross. "The devil," he would say, "is like a rabid dog on a chain. He can bark and frighten, but he cannot bite unless we come within reach of his chain. This is why the saint insisted on blessing his cell each night, even within the protective walls of a monastery. He understood that spiritual fortification isn't passive. It must be actively maintained, consciously renewed, deliberately chosen each day and especially each night when darkness feels closer and our defenses naturally weaken. Tonight, I want you to do something different. Don't just sprinkle holy water as a routine, do it with your soul awake. The timing matters more than you realize. There's spiritual significance in the hours between midnight and dawn, particularly around 3 in the morning, the hour that mirrors Christ's death, the hour when the veil between worlds grows thin. Turn off the lights in your home. If you have a blessed candle, light it and carry it with you. Take the holy water in your hands and say with conviction, Lord Jesus, bless this house, seal every door, every window, every soul that lives here. Let no shadow have a place where your light dwells. Now begin walking through each room of your home. Don't rush this process. Pay attention to the atmosphere as you move. Sometimes the soul perceives things the eyes cannot see, a sudden cold, an uneasiness, a strange memory surfacing. Don't be afraid. Continue. Because you're not alone in this moment. You're walking with the Virgin Mary. You're accompanied by legions of angels responding to your faith. Start with the entrance of your home. Sprinkle holy water on the doorframe while praying. This threshold is sealed by the blood of Christ. Only what serves God's will may enter here. Move to each window, each corner where shadows gather during the day. Padre Pio taught that evil spirits often hide in places we overlook, behind furniture, in closets, in spaces that rarely see light or prayer. As you walk through your living areas, bless the chairs where your family sits, the table where you share meals, the television that brings outside influences into your home. Say, let only truth and peace dwell in this space. Let every word spoken here build up rather than tear down. When you reach the bedrooms, this becomes even more crucial. Our beds are where we're most vulnerable, where our conscious defenses are lowered in sleep. Sprinkle holy water on each pillow, each mattress. If you have children, make the sign of the cross on their foreheads with holy water while they sleep, whispering, "May the angels of the Lord watch over you this night." Do the same with your spouse, your parents, elderly family members living with you. If you have pets, bless them too, because evil can attempt to touch everything you love. Animals are often more sensitive to spiritual presences than humans. They sense what we miss. Padre Pio specifically recommended blessing the kitchen, saying, "Where food is prepared with love, let no bitterness take root." Bless your refrigerator, your stove, the places where nourishment for your family is stored and prepared. Even bless your family photos, asking God to shield the relationships they represent. If you live alone, don't let solitude stop you. When you do this, you're not alone. You're accompanied by heaven. Perhaps, without knowing it, you're surrounded by angels who were waiting for this gesture to act with greater authority in your life. When you finish this blessing ritual, remain in silence for a few minutes. Listen, pray, give thanks. Because you've taken a gigantic spiritual step. You've told the invisible world, "My house is consecrated. Fear, sin, and chaos don't rule here. Christ reigns here." Many faithful who have done this with genuine faith have reported impressive testimonies. Dreams that were disturbing suddenly stop. Nightmares that plagued family members for months simply disappear after one night of conscious blessing. Children who previously cried at bedtime now rest in peace, sleeping through the night without unexplained fears. Unexplainable illnesses have vanished. Marriages that lived in constant conflict found reconciliation the very next day. Teenagers who were rebellious and angry suddenly became more peaceful and communicative. Financial problems that seemed impossible to solve began finding unexpected solutions. These aren't coincidences. They're the natural result of inviting heaven to dwell with you. Sarah, A mother from Texas wrote to us, "After blessing our home with holy water following Padre Pio's method, my youngest son stopped having terrible nightmares. For 6 months, he would wake up screaming about the dark man in the corner. The first night after I blessed his room, he slept peacefully. It's been 3 months now, and the nightmares never returned. When you bless your house with holy water consciously and with faith, you're inviting heaven to inhabit your space. You're creating what the saints called a domestic church, a place where God's presence is so real that evil simply cannot establish itself. The atmosphere changes. Family members who were constantly irritated with each other suddenly find patience and understanding. But perhaps the most profound testimony comes from those who were on the verge of losing their faith entirely. People who felt abandoned by God, who questioned whether prayer really worked, who wondered if spiritual realities were just imagination. When they experienced the tangible peace that follows this blessing ritual, their faith was reborn. It's not magic. It's the response of a loving God to his children's earnest desire for sanctuary. When we take concrete steps to consecrate our homes, we're demonstrating faith in action. We're saying, I believe you care about every detail of my life, including the atmosphere in my home. St. Gemma Galgani used to say that after sprinkling her room with holy water, she could literally hear dark presences leaving through the window. St. Teresa of Avila preferred having holy water nearby more than any other spiritual aid, declaring that it brought immediate peace to her troubled nights. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. It's about taking authority over your spiritual environment instead of passively accepting whatever influences happen to drift into your space. Padre Pio understood that we have more spiritual authority than we realize, and that simple acts of faith can accomplish what hours of worry never could. Tonight, I invite you to do this as if it were the first time. Take consciousness that you're not performing just any act. You're touching the spiritual world. You're telling demons, not here. This house belongs to Christ. This house is under Mary's covering. This isn't a routine religious practice. This is spiritual warfare at its most practical level. Make this blessing a conscious choice, not a mechanical habit. When you hold that holy water, remember that you hold something blessed by a priest's hands, something infused with heaven's authority through sacred words of exorcism and purification. Every drop carries the power of Christ's church, the weight of 2,000 years of faith, the force that makes hell tremble. Padre Pio also recommended blessing your children's pillows specifically, tracing a cross with holy water on their foreheads while they sleep, and saying, "May the angels of the Lord watch over you this night." Do this with your spouse, your parents, with elderly family members who live with you. These aren't just gestures, they're spiritual shields being placed over the people you love most. If you have pets, don't hesitate to bless them as well. Evil can attempt to touch everything that brings you joy, everything that represents love and innocence in your home. Animals often sense spiritual presences more acutely than humans do. When you bless them, you're safeguarding not just them, but the peace and happiness they bring to your family. For those who live alone, understand that this act connects you to the universal church, to millions of believers throughout history who have sought God's covering in their homes. You're not isolated in this spiritual battle. Angels surround you, saints intercede for you, and the Virgin Mary herself walks through your home as you carry out this sacred duty. Take time to bless objects that hold special meaning, family photos, wedding rings, gifts from loved ones, anything that represents the relationships and memories you cherish. Say over them, "Let these reminders of love draw us closer to you, Lord, and may they never become sources of division or pain." After completing your blessing, don't immediately rush to bed or return to distractions. Sit quietly in your living room. Feel the atmosphere. Notice if there's a sense of peace that wasn't there before, a lightness in the air, a feeling that your home truly has become a sanctuary. Thank God for this covering, for the privilege of participating in spiritual reality. Now I want to hear from you. What did you feel when you blessed your house tonight? What changed in your home's atmosphere? Do you make this a nightly practice? Write in the comments below, share your experiences and testimonies. Leave your prayer intentions so that others in our community can pray for you. Share this video with someone who needs this covering tonight. Perhaps there's a soul who, because of your gesture, will avoid a tragedy. Maybe there's a family struggling with unexplained conflicts, a parent worried about their child's disturbed sleep, or someone who has felt an oppressive presence in their home without knowing how to address it. Your act of sharing could be the answer to their desperate prayers. Remember that when you consecrate your home with holy water, you're not just shielding a building, you're safeguarding the relationships, the dreams, the future that unfolds within those walls. You're declaring that this space where you love, where you rest, where you raise your children, belongs to the kingdom of light, not darkness. The beautiful truth is that once you begin this practice with sincere faith, you'll notice changes that go far beyond the absence of nightmares or the cessation of family conflicts. You'll begin to sense God's presence more clearly in your daily life. Prayers will feel more powerful. Peace will come more easily. Your home will truly become what it was always meant to be, a domestic church where heaven touches earth. Padre Pio often said, "Pray, have faith, and don't worry." Tonight, as you bless your home, you're living out this counsel. You're choosing faith over fear, action over anxiety, trust over worry. You're participating in the mystery of God's care in the most practical way possible. As you prepare to sleep tonight in your newly blessed home, know that you rest under heaven's umbrella. Know that angels stand guard at your doors, that the Virgin Mary's mantle covers your family, that Padre Pio's intercession surrounds you with supernatural grace. If this message touched your heart, write "Thank you, Padre Pio" in the comments. Your gesture helps this message reach more people who desperately need to learn about spiritual covering. Subscribe to our channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any content that can strengthen your faith and bring more peace to your spiritual journey. May the Virgin cover you with her mantle. May Saint Michael guard your doors. May Padre Pio intercede so that tonight you sleep in peace, because heaven has already entered your house. The sanctuary is real, the peace is yours, and the love of God surrounds your home like an invisible fortress that no evil can penetrate. Sweet dreams, dear brothers and sisters. Your home is now a sanctuary, and you rest in the arms of divine care.